So on Schoology, you have access to this kind of information sheet on all of the programming blocks that we'll be working with in Scratch. Mainly for this second program, we will be working with the triggering blocks. So mainly start on green flag or start on tap are the two blocks that we'll be working with from the yellow tab. From the blue tab, we'll be primarily using the majority of these blocks on this programming. Move right, move left, move up, move down. Go home are going to be a lot of the main blocks we'll use from there. And then you may need to use some of the purple blocks, which are the look blocks, to either shrink down your character or make it bigger in size. And then finally, the end blocks, which is the red tab, telling your program to end after it's finished all your programming blocks. Now I'm going to switch over to Scratch Junior and show you some of the programming that I've worked on. So the way that you first create your background is you have to create a custom background, which is done by you tapping on the little picture icon in the center of the Scratch program. When you do, it brings you to this spot, and you can start from a fresh blank background and hit the little paintbrush. That brings you into the editing mode. And then you can choose any color that you'd like. I'm going to choose to go with this pink color. And what you want to do is just map out your obstacle course. And the requirement is that your obstacle course has you move at least 10 movements. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we're good. Now you just need to fill in all of the space around that navigation button with shapes. So we've got our circular shape that you can fill in. We've got a square we can fill in here. And these are kind of like the buttons that your the shapes your Scratch Cat will work its way around throughout the obstacle course. Okay, so that's good enough. So when you hit the check mark, it now puts that new background into your programming screen, and you're ready to program your character to run your maze. So I'm going to position my character up at the starting point of my maze. I do like to turn on the grid lines, which is 2 icons over from the house icon. So it's this one. And you'll see that it now gives me grid lines on my programming screen, which makes it a lot easier for me to know exactly how many movements to the left, right, up, and down that my character needs to move. So one thing that I noticed last time was a lot of you all forgot to use the starting programming block of when the green flag is clicked or when the character is tapped. You have to use one of those blocks so that Scratch knows when you want your program to start running. I always like to start with the when the green flag is clicked. But again, you have the option to use this programming block as well, and that's when you tap your character, then your program would start running. I'm going to go with when the green flag is clicked, though. So once the green flag is clicked, what's the first movement I need my character to do? So that's going to be under the Movements tab, which is our blue icon. First movement they're going to need to make is to the right. So I'm going to grab a Move Right arrow. One other thing I want to point out is a lot of people missed that this little white box with the number under it, underneath the programming block, is where you can change and adjust how many movements to the right you want that character to make. I saw a lot of people dragging like several of these right blocks next to each other. You don't have to do that. you actually can just tap the number box underneath the move block and put in how many exactly number of moves you want it to make in that direction. So my cat needs to move 1, 2. So I'm going to tap and I'm going to have it programmed to 2. And then I need my cat to move down. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7. All right, so then you'd continue to program it on through the maze, following your little line that you've provided. And then I always like to end so that my character is back at the starting point, so that if I were to rerun my program, I wouldn't have to move my character first. He automatically jumps back to the home starting point. So that's going to be this programming block down here. It sends the character back home to the original starting spot that you had placed it in. And then the last programming block is you can either have your program end after that last programming block, or you can have it repeat, continuously repeating through the maze that you've created. But for the purposes of this activity, we're just going to have it end there. So let's run my program and see how it does. So I'm going to tap the green flag. And that's it. So you need to program and create your own custom maze. Program your character to run through the maze from start to finish. And then make sure to screen record it so that I can see your completed program and upload it to Schoology.